Chapter 54 Farm 9. Jiayu glanced at Guo Yu and sighed inwardly, marveling at how people can hide their true intentions. 2 doors separated Shed 3 and Shed 9, as well as Jiang Ran and them. If something happened on Jiang Ran's side, the time it took to open the door might cost her life, but it could also buy them some time. On the other side, Jiang Ran didn't care if the door opened or not. She pressed a button, and the glass door of Shed 8 slowly opened. Immediately, all the other cameras inside the shed went black. In the control room, seeing the screens go dark, Cheng Tao hurriedly asked, "Why did they go black?" The staff quickly operated the equipment and exclaimed, "The cameras in Shed 8 are all broken. It seems there's a problem with the wiring, and we can't repair it right now. Switch to the cameras in other sheds and check the situation in Shed 8. Understood. The staff switched to cameras in other locations, but due to the anti-peeping measures on the farm, the glass walls had low clarity. With the double layers of glass and poor angles, not much could be seen. Staring at the unclear images on the screen, Cheng Tao frowned. Inside Shed 8, after disabling the cameras, Jiang Ran unleashed spinning wind blades to quickly clean up the bugs before they could react. She then quickly checked for traces of the luminous stone insects, but still found nothing. At this moment, Shed 10, which had been quiet for a while, once again emitted noises. The muffled sounds of impacts were growing louder. Guo Yu and the others were working hard to break walls or use weapons to chip away at the cement pools in the planting area. Upon hearing the collision sounds, their hands trembled uncontrollably as they worked even more quickly. Jiang Ran turned her head and hurriedly went to inspect Sheds 2, 7, and 14 one by one. Shed 7 was very clean, with no signs of evolved insects. It was filled with lush greenery, peppers hanging quietly on short plants. She had previously surveyed Shed 2 and found no trace of the luminous stone insects, and the current direction also yielded nothing. Since Shed 2 was too close to Shed 3, Jiang Ran decided to abandon it and turn to Shed 7 to assess Sheds 1 and 13 along the way. If she found nothing, she would have to move closer to the foggy area. Shed 1 had no bugs, only neat rows of tender green seedlings. Jiang Ran then walked down the aisle leading to Shed 13 and found it to be quite open as well. Black soil dotted with young sprouts covered every corner, with no abnormality in sight. So, Jiang Ran returned to Shed 8, and now only Shed 14 remained. Similar to Shed 7, Shed 14 was flourishing with crops. However, Jiang Ran didn't rush in. Shed 14 had seen death, which meant there might be anomalies. She had to be cautious. After observing for a while and finding no anomalies, Jiang Ran decided to enter Shed 14 to investigate. Inside the shed, she looked at the cameras on the ceiling and found that most of them had been destroyed by the luminous stone insects. Even if they hadn't been destroyed, they didn't seem to be functioning. To be safe, she looked at one of the cameras on the ceiling and asked, "Are there evolved insects in this shed? Where are the bodies?" The camera didn't respond. Jiang Ran took a few big steps forward, conjured 2 wind blades, destroyed 2 cameras that may or may not be working, and then began searching the shed for traces of the luminous stone insects. She found nothing, but in the middle of the planting area, she discovered 2 bodies. She put on rubber gloves taken from her storage space, dragged the bodies out. Like the bodies in Shed 9, these 2 were also dressed in protective suits. However, their suits were also torn, and there were several small holes in their feet, likely from insect bites. During her inspection, Jiang Ran noticed a faint fluorescence on the solace of the body's feet, which excited her greatly. The name luminous stone insect wasn't only due to the special stones in their nests, but also because of the luminous powder that covered their bodies, making them glow. Jiang Ran was thrilled. From the moment she entered the shed in the morning until now, she had finally found traces of the luminous stone insects. According to the information Cheng Tao had provided earlier, these people should have entered the fog. Combining that with the photos she had seen before, the luminous stone insects should be near the foggy area. They shouldn't be in the mist. If they were, it wouldn't be possible to take photos. Ultimately, Jiang Ran focused on Shed 6, 15, 16, and 18. Shed 6 was too far away, separated by foggy Shed 5, and she couldn't reach it. Shed 15 was right next door, adjacent to Shed 16, while Shed 18 was separated by foggy Shed 17. Then let's start with Shed 15. Muttering to herself, Jiang Ran inspected the two bodies again, confirmed no other findings, turned and walked toward Shed 15. Shed 15 had a moderate number of bugs, estimated to be around 40 or 50. Jiang Ran immediately disabled the surveillance as she opened the glass door and swiftly eliminated the flesh-eating bugs in the shed with her wind blades, then continued toward Shed 16. As she approached Shed 16, her pace quickened. Shed 16 was a mess. The cement floor outside the planting area, glass walls, and ceiling were covered in dark brown insect eggs, each the size of a grown man's fist, densely packed and countless in number. Inside the planting area, grayish glowing insects were crawling around, too many to count, causing goosebumps. Jiang Ran, however, was overjoyed. This was the luminous stone insect she had been searching for. In the planting area, the pale white stones scattered across the black soil were her goal for this trip. If she had known that the luminous stone insects were in Shed 16, she wouldn't have wasted time in other sheds. But seeing the sky growing darker outside, Jiang Ran felt it was not too late to find them now. The night was the best cloak of invisibility. After a careful observation, Jiang Ran saw that the cameras in Shed 16 had been destroyed by the luminous stone insects. She only needed to destroy the cameras in the aisle. With this thought in mind, Jiang Ran did just that. A clicking sound. The camera in the aisle split in half and fell to the ground. Jiang Ran took realgar and wood ash from her storage space and smeared them on her body. Then she opened the glass door and walked in. As soon as the glass door opened, the insects in the planting area moved toward her, their two antennae on top of their heads swaying constantly. Jiang Ran took a step forward, and the insects quickly retreated. Indeed, it was effective. She took another step forward, and the insects continued to pull back. With each step Jiang Ran took, the swarm retreated, as she hadn't stepped on any insect eggs. The swarm was on alert but didn't initiate an attack. Gradually, Jiang Ran reached the vicinity of the planting area and began quickly picking up the white stones. The antennae on the heads of the insects at the forefront kept turning, sensing the position and actions of the intruder. They were probably quite puzzled, not understanding what the human before them was doing.